Hello tea friends! We thought we would make a video to announce something really special, which is that we are going to post onto our website some amazing books from our friends at Wuxing Publications for you to add to your library and explore and learn about tea more and enrich your understanding about all topics to tea and teaware related. I'd like to remind you though that all the past issues of Global Tea Hut are up on our archive for free, so you can go there and also search by topic, and there's plenty of information there. In fact, some of the articles from this magazine are also republished there for free. Some of you may or may not know, but before co-founding Global Tea Hut magazine, I actually helped co-found two other magazines. One was a purely online free magazine called The Leaf, and prior to that, I founded this magazine, The Art of Tea, with my friends, some of my oldest tea friends. It was quite a lot of work to get this off the ground in the beginning because their whole company, nobody spoke English, and so they weren't really interested in creating English magazines or English books, and so I had to work really hard and create the whole first issue and second, and then they were really happy with what had happened, and a lot of people helped, of course. There were translators and editors and people to help me get that done, and took, I don't know, the first issue, I think 6 months or a year, and then Art of Tea was launched, and once it was launched, then it started to get momentum of its own, and my role was decreased, and I just helped write some articles and edit and take a look at the layout and helped in any way I could, because I always wanted there to be more information in the English language for tea lovers. Some of the copies are sold out and they're out of print, but we have several issues, as you can see. Art of Tea ran, I believe, for 15, 17 issues or something like that, and we have several of them for sale on the website, so you could have these shipped to your place and learn. They're big magazines, and they tend to be really full of tons of stuff. A lot of linear information, so tons of stuff for just geeking out on all aspects of tea and science, history, and all kinds of stuff. So like this issue 2 is all about Wui, and there's just a ton of stuff in here, and a lot of great reading in these issues. And obviously all of these will be limited, so once they're sold out, they're sold out. They're not in print anymore. So go ahead and grab yourself some, have them shipped along with your next order, and you'll have a lot of great reading material to sit around along with Global Tea Hut and learn more, enrich your tea journey and your appreciation of tea. And then we also have some books. The first book is this wonderful book, First Step to Chinese Puerh Tea by Zhang Kanpeng. Zhang Kanpeng is a puerh collector and expert in Hong Kong that I've had the honor to meet. He's a wonderful man and one of the most knowledgeable puerh collectors that I have ever met. And also, to our great advantage, he speaks very fluent English and is able to even write books in English. So he wrote this book several years ago. I had the honor to help edit it, and it is a great introduction to puerh tea. It not only has a lot of the vintages and shows them to you, but it also goes through the processing, history, some science, and it's just a really great introduction to puerh tea. And it's also out of print and hard to get, so this is a really good book to have in your library. And he also wrote this book, which is a glossary of Chinese puerh tea. And the glossary of Chinese puerh tea is just a huge list of definitions and terms, because there's just so much jargon related to puerh tea, and the parts of cakes and the way that it's processed. And as you get more and more interested in puerh, you're just going to encounter a lot of jargon, everything from the shapes to the the parts of the wrapper. Like this is called a neife, which is the inner trademark ticket, that's kind of floating and compressed in the tea inside of a cake. And so this just has kind of every term that you're going to encounter. And so you could use this as a reference, but I even read it through and through once. I read it cover to cover. And, you know, I'm an uber tea geek though, so I'm very interested, but you might not want to do that. And, yeah, so right here's about Purple Sky, the real Purple Sky, which is just our Global Tea at Tea of the Month. Just opened that page. So if you really love tea, you could read this cover to cover or just have it around as a reference. But this is a really good book to have as well. Also by the amazing Chen Kanbang. This book I actually co-translated and edited with my brother Aaron Davis. And this is a book about the ancient tea horse road. It's about the trade routes that were used to trade tea and other goods between Yunnan and mostly Tibet and India, but they extended all throughout China. And it has English and Chinese and some really glorious photographs of the trail. And it's a really well-written kind of ethnography, I would say, something like that, history, ethnography, and also plenty of tea wisdom here. It's a really good book for kind of surveying the cultures where tea has grown up, the trade routes, and a lot of the history as well. Really enjoyed working on this book. So you might want to have this in your library too. And then we have one's a set of 2 books, but we have this book. This is a really beautiful book on ginbin, silver kettles for tea. And this one does not have English. However, it is like 99% photos, this book. Maybe 98%, I don't know. There's really hardly any text. It's almost all photos of examples from very famous houses and examples of some of the best silver kettles ever produced. Especially since there's a lot of fakes out there. If you are interested in ginbins, this gives you a really good survey of like the history of ginbins and all the different types of silver teapots and silver kettles. So it's a really nice book to have. And we're going to include with it our Global Tea issue all about ginbins. So along with this book, you'll get that magazine, and you'll have a hard copy of that magazine. Some of you obviously already have a hard copy of that magazine, but you'll have another one, then maybe you can give one to a friend. But this is a good book to have in a tea lover's library. Look at ginbins, and you'll have the magazine too to read some of the history and production, etc. of ginbin. You can read that issue of the magazine and have this book just as a reference. And then this is similar. This is a 2-book series on tetsubins. Same thing. This one does not have any English. It's all Chinese. However, once again, it's also 99% photos. And it just is a kind of photographic record of the long history of tetsubins and some of the most famous examples that have ever been made. And so if you appreciate the craftsmanship of tetsubins, this is a really amazing set to have. It's 2 huge books, 2 giant books, because the history of tetsubins is that long, that huge, and gives you a real good example. There's also a lot of fake tetsubins out there, so it's a good reference to see what the genuine ones look like, feel like, and some of the most famous houses. And once again, we're going to include with this set of tetsubin books, we're going to include the issue of Global Tea Hut that's all about tetsubins as well. So you have that, which has plenty of history and production and etc. that you need to have a real good understanding of tetsubins. And here you'll have 2 giant volumes filled with photos of antique tetsubins spanning back hundreds of years. And there really is hardly any text. There's like real small introductory articles at the beginning of each book. And actually, I believe one of them is even in the Global Tea issue. It's been translated. So the tetsubin set and the ginbin book will come with the magazine. So you will have some English information that will contextualize all the wonderful photos that you're looking through as you look through these books. So if you get all of these, you can see this is a huge library. It's years worth of reading and on top of Global Tea magazine, we hope that this will provide some more resources for you to study tea and learn about tea in English. If you guys appreciate this, we could maybe continue this process and find some other books around and add them to the website and offer some more educational materials, be it reference books, because there's a lot of books like this that don't have English but are almost exclusively pictures. For example, there's a lot of books on antique Yixing teapots, and they are just reference books, and they may be the same thing. They start with a short introductory article, and then they have just a lot of photos of antique Yixing pots. And so we could get our hands on some of those books too if you guys are interested. Some of these are a little bit more expensive because they're out of print, so they cost a little bit more than the price on the book. So I believe, I'm not sure about the T-Horse Road, but the first step to puerh is out of print. The glossary, I believe, is out of print. The Ginbin and Tetsubins are not. The T-Horse Road, I'm not sure. And the magazines are certainly out of print, so they're limited. And yeah, all have just a slightly higher cost than what's printed on the book. But first step to puerh is for sale in some bookstores for even more, a couple $100 or more, because it's been out of print for so long and people obviously wanted it. It's rare. So we're offering it at a much more affordable price for you. So hopefully you can have the opportunity to collect some of these books and magazines and add them to your library, learn more about tea and grow in tea, and enhance your appreciation for tea as well. Thank you so much for all your support that you've given and that you will give. The proceeds, obviously, from all of this will also go to help build your center, Light Meets Life. We'll see you in the next video.